All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of Minor Obsession, a special edition, a post-Appalachian State edition. Sean, thoughts?
Well, first of all, I'm really hoarse, so I apologize. We were screaming our hearts out there up in Boone. But I'll say, it hurts not to come away with a W, especially how hard we fought. But I feel really good right now, like really, really good about how this team looked tonight. I saw nothing but heart from the entire team out there, hustling on every play, and love what I saw. And I think if you asked anybody from App State 7 days ago how the game was going to go, they would have told you, get out of town, blow out, no chance in HE double hockey sticks. And we came in and we showed them what we're made of, and I appreciated that.
Yeah, definitely a big turnaround from last year's 45-9 loss at home to a tough matchup at Appalachian State. Final score 56-41. We'll go through kind of some big moments in that, but I don't think the score was necessarily indicative of the game. It's a lot closer than 15 points.
I would agree with that. I mean, when we break it down, in my mind, I give the W to the Niners offense and the W to the Niners defense minus maybe one or two plays. Other than that, special teams in my mind.
Yeah, so let's talk about some of the scoring plays and then do a little analysis on what we liked, what we don't want to see more of, and what we do want to see more of. So the game started out, lots of energy at the stadium. We were pumped up in our Niners seats. Saw some Minor Obsession fans. That was nice as well. Kickoff, and then boom. First play, 87-yard rushing touchdown for Appalachian. That really sucked a lot of air out of the building for us and kind of felt the, oh no, this is going to happen again. But the team was very resilient, came back. Benny LeMay with a touchdown. Unfortunately, we jinxed our star kicker, and he missed the extra point, so we were down by 1 point. And it kind of stayed within that for much of the first half. They went down and scored, and then we came down and answered and made an extra point. So a 14-13 game. We started to get on a drive that maybe we could potentially get the lead. Benny LeMay with a really nice screen pass, tried to get an extra yard or two, jumped in the air, flipped over, very high, very scary. Fortunately, he got up. I think he just got the wind knocked out of him. But that seemed to kind of lose the momentum of our drive, gave us a 2nd and 2 and a 3rd and 2 where we just kind of failed on that. We punted it back to App. We went for it on 4th down, I believe, in that drive.
Yep, because we were on the edge.
Yep, and then they drove down the field. We bend, but we didn't break, which is what I predicted, just not quite what I predicted what the score was. And they hit the post on a field goal attempt, and me and you were going crazy. And we're like, oh, my God, it's 14-13. There's a minute and 30 seconds or something like that left. We're going to go into the half. Maybe we'll have a lead. Either way, we're in this game. And then the wheels started to
chaos ensues.
Yeah, chaos ensues. The wheels come off the bus, and we have like a nice run for a couple yards, and then the next play, Chris Reynolds gets strip sacked, fumble recovery by App. They get it on our 10-yard line. First play after that, touchdown pass. So now App's got an 8-point lead instead of the 1-point lead. Fine. They kick it off. We get in a bad spot. We go 3 and out, and we get our punt blocked and returned, similar to what we did to Gardner-Webb last week, to now make the 1-point lead a 15-point lead in a matter of 30, 45 seconds. So we got the ball back. We kneeled it. We went to halftime. Instead of down by 1, down by 15, which was tough, especially with the momentum we were feeling, especially after they hit that post. But we knew we had to come back strong. I don't know what Will Healy said to the group, but he definitely said something that fired them up. And they came down, scored on the first drive. Really nice answer. And then App answered right back. But then we went firing, and we had some great moments. Chris Reynolds really started to show that he could chuck the ball. And he threw a couple of touchdowns there, threw one really beautiful one to the right corner. I guess both really nice ones were to the right corner, but the first one was like a 40-yard bomb that worked out really well. And you could feel the momentum begin to shift yet again. We came within 7 points, or excuse me, 8 points, because we did go for a 2-point conversion that we did not convert after converting one prior, which made the game 34-42. And that's when we started to think, oh my God, we have a chance. And following that, I believe we kicked it off, and App had a 68-yard touchdown run to extend the lead again. We answered back and scored again to make it again a 8-point game. And then we went for an onside kick to try to get the ball back. And unfortunately, not only did we not get the onside kick back, but App caught it and returned it for a touchdown. And that was the final score, 56-41. We had one more drive where we started to make some noise. We threw a pick in the end zone, but it was really, we probably didn't have a chance of winning at that point. Very competitive, came down to the last couple of minutes. Yeah, that's what happened. Sean, go back to you. Thoughts?
Man, I tell you what, I really appreciated being able to feel like I'm in a game and be rooting. You know, we, over our first 7 or so years, have not had a ton of that. You know, when we were in FCS play, we were building for FBS play, and so a lot of our games there were blowouts. And then when we first moved to FBS, a lot of our games were blowouts in the wrong direction, and it felt good to go into an away game, and we did have a few of these over the years as well, but it just felt good to be there, be in an away game, be a 22-point spread, and then come out and be able to hang. And like I said a few minutes ago, I really think this game comes down to miscues. Otherwise, it's all in Charlotte's favor. So a couple of the things you just talked about there that stick out in my mind as big plays. Obviously, the first run from scrimmage that gave them a 7-0 lead. That was the biggest hole I've seen on a run in a long, like it was like Moses parting the Red Sea, and I think the safety froze because he had no idea the guy even had the ball because he made it through so clean. So miscues like that kind of were the staple in my mind. It was a few defensive miscues, but all in all, I thought our defense played really great. And then special team miscues with things like trying to get onside kick. I realized at that point of the game it's already a little late to even hope for a victory, but you're trying to at least be able to do it. And going for the ball so hard that you forget to tackle the guy who recovers the ball is just it's an inexcusable mistake that I'm sure Healy's going to be working hard to fix. But we saw special teams mistakes last week in Gardner-Webb, so that's got to be a point of emphasis and a point of concern that we need to keep our eyes on over the next couple weeks and see how that shakes out. The other big miscue I thought was that 68-yard run to give them another touchdown lead towards the end of the game and really seal our fate. 3rd and 2, I believe they were on. We played. They're just going to run up the gut, try and get this first down. The running back broke it to the outside, and there was literally nobody on the edge trying to contain. And that's just a big defensive miscommunication there. Somebody should have been keeping an eye on the outside and in place to be able to stop that and to allow another huge run when you're battling to try and get a victory like that has just got to be super disheartening.
Yeah, and to your point, there was 5 touchdowns that App scored that were either special teams or, as I like to say, the big play. And those are the 2 things I think we need to work on is not giving up points on special teams and avoiding the big play. And the big play is the 87-yard touchdown run, the 63-yard touchdown run, and then that 73-yard bomb they threw, which was also on 3rd down. The quarterback did a great job for App staying in the pocket for that, but still another big play that our defense gave up. I thought our defense played awesome, excluding those 3 big plays, which were momentum killers. The only other thing besides the block punt is we only had one turnover. The problem was that one turnover was on our own 10-yard line.
Yep.
So, I mean, I thought we improved from being careful with the ball, and I thought really Reynolds played great. I thought he really managed the game, took care of the ball, made big plays when he had to make big plays, both with his feet and throwing it down the field, and really solidified himself as the single starter. As you saw, he played the entire game. There was no 2 QB option in this one.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting too. I know we talked about it together at the game, but in my mind, that kind of brings up the perfect problem, and probably a reason that a lot of big tier college programs don't offer a 2 QB option regularly in games and only use them as needed. It's because it's very difficult to draw the line on when do I bring Brett Keane in these situations. So in my mind, I would bet Healy had a plan to use 2 QBs here, but the game dictated that he couldn't, because Chris Reynolds had us 13-14. There's no way in heck I'm bringing Brett Keane in at that point when we're holding our own and down by 1 point and driving down the field. That's just crazy to do. And then another key spot that I thought he could swap them out, or maybe thinking about swapping them out, was towards the end of the second half to get Keane some reps. But Reynolds fumbles the ball, and if you take him out, that's a big confidence destroyer right there to say, hey, you just fumbled it, now I'm swapping QBs. And so I don't think that was the right time to swap him in either. I just think the game dictated to leaving one QB Reynolds in, and didn't really pose any opportunities to bring Keane in. And honestly, like you said, maybe with the play that he had today, he may have even solidified it to where Healy gives up on the 2 QB approach for the rest of the season as well. We'll have to see, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does. I would say some of Reynolds did take a big step forward in my mind throwing the ball, but I do think Keane gives you a little better opportunity to make some deep passes that are a little crisper. But I know you were happy to see Reynolds throw a couple over the shoulder passes for touchdowns that really looked nice and were right on the money. That coverage was draped all over the receiver. So all in all, I was very happy to see Reynolds in the entire time, and thought that the game kind of dictated that.
Yeah, I thought he looked good. I thought he made very smart decisions and always kind of gave the receiver a chance. He threw that one pick at the end when it was kind of garbage time. But otherwise, he was tough in there. He was very careful with the ball and made big plays. So I appreciated that. I thought he had a great game, and he should definitely be hanging his head high because he did awesome. And I don't normally, back to your experience with 49er football, I don't remember having that confidence necessarily in a quarterback ever, where I'm always kind of nervous that, oh God, when is he going to screw up and throw a bad pass? And I don't think he really did that. I felt pretty confident with him at the helm. I don't know if that's our offense playing great, if App's defense isn't that good. I think the next couple of games will really show, what that is. But great stats for the offense, putting up 41 points at Appalachian State, which is, historically a pretty good program. And statistically, I think that's the most points they've given up since the University of Miami, the U. So I'm happy being in the company of Miami for sure.
Well, not only that, but in general, like I said, I feel like if you take away 2 or 3 plays, our defense beat their defense, and our offense beat their offense. And if you look at the stat line, it really paints that picture. So rushing yards is about the only category they really beat us in, 276 to 230, but they had 160 rushing yards on 2 plays, 2 bonehead plays we made of allowing a running back to just get to the second level and break it open. So if you take that out, they really only had 110 yards of true rushing versus our 230. We also netted 296 passing yards to their 182. And some of that is that towards the end of the game we were playing from behind and having to pass a little bit more. But in general, I like our offensive stats a lot. 24 first downs to their 16, and Our punting looked good as well. I thought minus the one block punt, everything was we were averaging basically a 50-yard punt, 42 yards to be exact. But I thought all in all, where we needed to play good, we did. We just really need to shore up special teams, and we were talking about that earlier. I think some of that stems from Healy being a new coach. You know, you inherit the recruits you already have, and then you try and fill in the gaps where you can with people not necessarily being sure about committing to you. And you know, special teams is generally second and third string players that have playmaking abilities that can step in on those things, and that to me makes sense that we may be weakest at that point where we've got great starters. There's no arguing there, but in terms of depth, we definitely lack that. And those are the individuals that would be the big playmakers on special teams on a normal football team.
For sure. And just highlighting again, the Conference USA Scott and Sean picks for the 49ers, the Stars, really showed up. Again, Benny LeMay and Alex Highsmith. Another 2 sacks for Alex Highsmith. And that was probably my favorite part of the game, was when we sacked the quarterback 2 times in a row and got them pushed back all the way to their own 5 before, I think it was before the end of the first quarter. But it was a nice momentum run, and it was a really, again, a great job by our defense. But overall, I think it was a great game. We covered the spread, which was 22.5. Like I said, Vegas disrespected us. I wasn't expecting, as you can hear from the last podcast, I thought if it hit the over, which it crushed the over, I think whatever, it was 97 total points, and I think the over-under was 54. I thought if it got over, we were going to get blown out. So very happy to be surprised and see that we kept up with them. And positive takeaways were our offense had real drives in real pressure moments. This was a big-time experience for them, away game against a good opponent with their backs against the wall, with momentum shifting after, you know, bad things happening on special teams or whatever, and big offensive plays by the other team, and just coming out and answering over and over again with long, sustainable drives, time of possession, just really grinding, getting 10 yards here, getting 15 yards there. Sure, we had a couple of those nice bombs for 30, 40 yards, and Benny LeMay had a nice, I think, 50-yard run. But otherwise, I mean, most of our points were on long drives where they just kind of took the ball and went. And in pressure situations, pressure time. Big 2-point conversion at one point, big touchdown score to put it within 8 in the fourth quarter after being down by 3 scores. Like, that's just great experience for these guys. And, you know, Chris Reynolds, again, he's a sophomore. We got 2 years left of this guy. So, I mean, we'll see what kind of recruits and whatnot Healy brings in. But, I mean, I'm excited for just getting that in-game experience for someone like him. I think there's a lot of positives coming from this game. And I'm excited about the game next week against UMass and see if we can build on this and have a real nice showing and go to 2-1.
I agree too. I thought it was amazing showing, and I thought that the energy that we brought was really the difference maker there. I know that I think some App State fans are probably a little nervous that Eli Drinkowitz or Dorkowitz may be too offensive minded and not focusing on the defense, because we did have very long sustained drives like you mentioned. So we'll monitor them and see what continues to happen too. You know, it's funny for our side. I know Ben DeLuca went out early injured, and I didn't see him back on the field to the best of my knowledge. So we'll have to monitor that too and see. He's obviously a big leader on our defense and going to be crucial to being able to shore up some of those miscues that we saw later in the game. And so hopefully everything's okay there and just a little shaken up, and he's not going to have to miss any extended time.
Yeah, but overall, tough loss. Would have loved to beat App, especially now when we're not supposed to beat App, and I think we had it in our hands. but I'm still happy. Can't wait to play them again 2026 and show them what a real school looks like, because we're going to be really good by then. And I'm excited about the rest of the season. I think we really showed that we can hang with the big boys. And I think a bowl is not out of the question. I mean, we got to continue to build off this. But we're talking 2 games into the Will Healy era, and we just took a team that was ranked nationally last year in the top 25, even if it was just for a week, and hasn't lost a game since losing that game that kicked them out of the top 25. And we took them to their limits, and they weren't expecting that. And I think that's a good sign for our program, and we're only going to get better for the rest of the year as people get more comfortable in the system and kind of build that chemistry with each other, and Healy kind of gets his feet a little bit more wet. So I'm very positive about this. I think everyone left excited and thrilled. We saw one kid walking out saying, 41 points! We scored 41 points!
Shout out to that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. I'm super excited and pumped up to do a pregame preview of the UMass game, and then hopefully do a W wrap-up afterwards.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully everyone else is pumped up. If you have any feelings about the game or want to get to us, want to hear more, feel free to reach out to us on Twitter, Instagram, all that fun stuff. We're Minor Obsession. Email us on our email, minorobsession49@gmail.com. Sean, anything else? Any closing statements you want to say for the people as they drive home from Boone potentially, or they go into work on Monday and they're still pumped up and they want to talk junk to their app colleagues about, hey, we played pretty good, didn't we? You're scared, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing I have to say is with a full heart and a really excited mind for the future, there's no better time to wear green.
And go Niners. Let's go.